Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to run you through my reading goals for 2020. Look, sometimes years start in May. But seriously, I have some reading goals for this year. I'm hoping to get at least some of them completed. I've done pretty well in the past with completing yearly reading goals, and I think it's because it's such a long period of time that I've got a fair amount to work with in terms of getting them done. I have 6 reading goals for this year. It's less than normal because it's like almost halfway through the year already. Once again, I hope everyone's taking care of themselves in this weird isolation period time. Here in Australia, things have been also pretty weird. I know that it's weird everywhere in the world almost, but hopefully we're on the downhill of all of the bad stuff now. So I guess we'll see where it takes us. But in the meantime, I found that reading is a really good way to help my mental health. It's a really good way to fill in time if you have too much of it. And it's just, reading's great. Everyone should read. So my first reading goal, I think I mentioned this in my last video, my first reading goal of 2020 is to complete the Throne of Glass series and all of the books that are associated with this. So at this point in time, the only books that I have read are these ones. I've only read up to Empire of Storms, and I haven't read these ones. And these ones I think are going to be a bit of a slug to get through. So I figured I would read these ones to, I guess, build a bit of momentum to jump back into these. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, this series started off really strong, and then towards the end of it, I don't know whether it was just me and my reading slump, but I just fell off the wagon so hard. And I struggled through Empire of Storms. I didn't even pick up the Assassin's Blade. Who likes Kale? Who wants to read Tower of Dawn? But anyway, so my plan is to reread this series and then complete it and wipe it from my brain so that it's done. And hopefully I can get a little bit of enjoyment out of it the second time round, or at least more than the first. My next goal is a bit of like a two-parter. Overall, overarching goal is to get back into reading fantasy and try to make reading high fantasy a little bit easier. But the second part to that is that I'm going to read the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. I heard so many good things about this series. I trust everyone that tells me that it's good, and so I'm going to read it. That's all I have to go off. My third goal is to try a new genre. I read a lot of the same stuff. I read fantasy, I read contemporary. That's all I read. That's it. And I want to branch out a little bit and try to read some different things or some new things. I don't have a plan for what genre I want to branch out into. I don't like classics. I never have liked classics. I've tried classics, I'm not going to do it. And I don't really like non-fiction. I find autobiographies, I think I've said this before, I find them quite intrusive and not very nice to read. But my fourth goal in 2020 is to read 40 books. I have read about 12 or 13 so far, and I'm hoping to read, 40 books this year. I've never actually hit my Goodreads goal before, so I'm hoping that I can do that this year. I really like Goodreads reading goals because you can see your progress, you can see what you've read, and you can also see your friends' reading goals, which I find, I'm a competitive person, and I find that really fun because I can be like, ooh, I'm beating that person. I never end up beating that person. I don't read that much, but I'm going to try to this year. My fifth goal for this year is to reread a series that I love. I don't know what series that's going to be. In the past, I've listened to the Harry Potter audiobooks, I've reread the Mortal Instruments, I reread the Illuminae series, so I'm not really sure what series that I want to dive back into, but I think it'll be really good to, I don't know, revamp a series that I read quite a while ago and then see it in my new adult eyes. And my final goal, my sixth goal, is to halve my TBR pile. I've been really good in the past with maintaining my 1 in 1 out, mostly 1 in 1 out reading goal, which is a system where I'm not allowed to buy a book unless I've read a book. And like most of the time it works. For most of the start of this year, I was in like -3 and -4 books because I'd bought more books than I'd read. But late last year I actually did a clean out of a lot of books that I wasn't going to read that were on my TBR pile. And that actually cut it down by about 20 books, which was, it went from 80 to 60. So my goal this year is to halve my TBR pile. So that's to read 30 books off of my shelves. I have a whole bookshelf at this point of just books that I haven't read. And I think that that's a problem that needs to be fixed. I think in the past I get really excited about the new books that I read, and so I only ever really read them and I never get back into books that I've bought a very long time ago. Story time. I read The Raven Boys earlier this year, and I only read it because my boyfriend picked it out because he liked that there was a crow on the cover. And then I opened that book and the receipt was inside, and I bought that book 10 years ago. So there's just a lot of books on there that I haven't read that I've owned for a very long time. So my goal is to be mindful of that and to try to pick out books that I have bought in the past that I may not be immediately drawn to, but I bought it for a reason in the first place, and so hopefully I will still enjoy it as much as I may have enjoyed it when I first bought it. But let me show you my shelf. So this is my TBR bookshelf. There's a few books that are missing, like down there, that are over on my bed from when I just filmed, but like a whole bookshelf of books that I haven't read. I need to fix this. I need to fix it. But anyway, those are my 2020 reading goals. Yes, it's May. I'm fully aware. Let me know what your reading goals are for 2020. I would love to hear some and maybe get some inspiration for my own in case I fail my reading goals tragically. I can just borrow someone else's. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you're having a great day or a great afternoon, and I will see you guys next time.